Okay, what's up YouTube? I'm back with another video, and this is going to be my last video of the year. Next year I will be bringing out new information, new material, and in today's video it's going to be a short lesson, straight to the point. Is Christianity the white man's religion? We're going to prove that that's not true. So once again, we're going to be coming from this book right here, and then we're going to be coming from this book right here, Enoch the Ethiopian. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start off here and give you some visuals again once more. We're going to start off with this map. Okay, so all of this is connected. Okay, all of this, right? So if we go back to so-called time, who's naming all these continents? Who's giving up all these continents their names? You know what I'm saying? Because if this is all one landmass, this is all connected. Who gives a person the authority to say this is Europe, but this is Europe up here, this is Africa down here, this is Antarctica down here, things like that. Okay? So keep this map in mind. And it's going to be a short video. We're going to prove that the Christianity is not the white man's religion. So in this book right here, The Lost Prophet of the Bible, Enoch the Ethiopian, I want to go right here and give you some references, sources. You know I come with nothing but facts. Okay? Now if you've watched my previous video, you should already know that black people came up with the concept and idea of God. That's why you worship God. Because black folks came up with that idea and concept through pure thought, imagination, creativity. But on page 193, let's get into this. So it says that, quote, in the beginning we were there. In volumes 1 and 2 of the book of the beginning, Gerald Macy launches forth his position on where we may find the origin of civilization. So far as the records of language and mythology can offer us guidance, there is nothing beyond Egypt and Ethiopia but Africa. Now remember, I just showed you the map here, that all of this is connected. All of this is connected. You know what I'm saying? And next I'm going to bring out some new information that's going to further tie into this map. You know what I'm saying? So stay tuned. Let's keep on going. It says, thus the world-renowned American Orientalist James H. Breasted disclosed that, quote, our moral heritage therefore derives from a wider human past enormously older than the Hebrews, and it has come to us rather through the Hebrews than from them. It says, The Dawn of Conscience, New York, 1933, page 15 says, as a matter of fact, quote, there was no Hebrew written language until 850 BC, when the Jewish scribe, the Hasidim, translated the original manuscripts from Egyptian and the Ge'ez to Hebrew, as Carl C. Nicholas, a biblical scholar, puts it. You see that? It says, indeed, it is quite interesting and somewhat puzzling as to how Charles Heston in the movie The Ten Commandments, he's talking about this movie, he's talking about this. He's talking about this. When Charles Heston did this movie, when he came down with the Ten Commandments in the movie, okay, let's go back here. He says, indeed, it is quite interesting and somewhat puzzling as to how Charles Heston in the movie The Ten Commandments came down from Mount Sinai with 2 stone tablets containing the Ten Commandments in ancient Hebrew, when the language did not exist until 200 years later. Another observation made by Mr. Carl C. Nicholas. So it says Hebrew, the Hebrew written language didn't come about to 850 BC. So that means that everything that Moses was telling the children of Israel was orally, was verbal, verbatim. So you know damn well that that if somebody is telling somebody to do certain things, you're not going to remember this stuff probably 10, 15 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you actually think that those people were actually perfect? You don't think those people had Alzheimer's disease? You know what I'm saying? The same stuff that we going through today? Come on now. It says, using dates as reference points, 1250 BCE, Abraham enters Egypt, could be considered the benchmark date for Jewish history. Everything before that date is pre-Jewish, before authentic Jewish history. Everything after it until 538 BC, the Persian conquest of Babylonia, would be within Jewish history. One could use that date to compare how old or how young a particular idea or nation is based on Western civilization's frame of references regarding its religion. For example, the date of 300 BC is clearly a time before the Jewish people became a nation. Or if you use the figure around 1500 BC as Chianti Diop did in dating the arrival of the Europeans into Egypt in his book Civilization of Barbarism, it said that too is pre-Jewish, meaning it is before the history of the Jews as a religion, a people and a nation. Thus, Professor Brester reminds us that the Ethiopians were the first to give religious thought and aspiration to the world. A Valmanius note, quote, a Valmanius note in which standard authority seems to prove that this statement is substantially correct and that we are reality and depth to the ancient Ethiopians. To a fervid imagination of the persecuted and despised Negro, for the various religious systems now so highly revered by the different branches of both Semitic and Aryan races. This fact, which is so frequently referred to in Mr. Bowling writings, see that? Centuries before Europe's conversion to Christianity, centuries in which Celtic, Germans, and Slavic people saw the natural world as magical, with trees, birds, and thunder possessing ominous power, Africa gave birth to the world's first Christian state. So why is the Christian legend of Ethiopia so little known in the West? Perhaps because the Ethiopian burnt face in the Greek language that named them are black, and European cultures continue to identify Christianity as a Western religion. It says Bamber Dasagni, who wrote the book The Christians, which also appeared as a television program, speaks to Ethiopians this way. He says, quote, there is only one country in the world today which has been Christian almost from the start, and in which one can still find monks living with something of the earlier simplicity. It says Ethiopia. Until 1974, Ethiopia was still essentially its own small Christian empire, with a tradition longer than any Christianity. With a tradition longer than any, Christianity had penetrated its mountain vastness as early as 340 AD. The imperial title, quote, Lion of Judah, is one of the phrases used for Christ himself in Revelations, and Haile Selassie, the name which Rastafari chose for himself in 1920, means might of the Trinity. Listen to this. When the King James translators completed the translation in 1611, they knew by calling the slaves Negroes, this would give bearing to the white Christian world that the people they were enslaving were Christians well before Europe knew about the risen Christ. You see that? So when we talk about this so-called transatlantic slave trade, you know what I'm saying, and we say that the slaves didn't know anything about Christianity when they came over here, well, that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? That's a lie. They know about Christianity. because they are the original Christians, the ancient Christians. Okay, and I showed you in the Greek concordance that the ancient Christians in Christ's time were called niggers. You see that? Put more directly, Father Martin D. Portes in the book The Ancient Black Christians, it says Ethiopia, a black country, is the oldest Christian country in the world. Therefore, it should not come as a surprise that our main source of information has been the Ethiopic version of Enoch, which was discovered by James Bruce, a Scottish explorer. He set out on his travels in June 1768 and landed in Ethiopia in September 1769. After many adventures, he describes in his journals how he found the ancient Christian civilization of Ethiopia. You see that? Are you seeing this? The author of Anaclepsis, G. Higgins, provides us with a scene from Genesis written on the walls of an Ethiopian temple, which also supplies another link to the Bible and its African origins. Quote, one of the greatest African Ethiopian temples was located at Abu Simbel. Okay, that's in Nubia. It says, when an English traveler named Wilson visited this temple, he saw sculptured on its walls the story of the fall of man as told in Genesis. Adam and Eve were shown in the Garden of Eden, as well as the tempting serpent and the fatal tree. Commenting on this fact, Godfrey Higgins asks, quote, how is the fact of the mythos of the second book of Genesis being found in Nubia, probably 1,000 miles above Ethiopia, to be accounted for? You see that? It says here that a history of civilization proclaimed that, quote, Christianity, after 2,000 years, is still the religion professed by the overwhelming majority of men and women in the Western world. All these, it must be noted, came to us Westerners not directly, but filtered through and in part transformed by the Hebrews. However, the author of the Conquest of Civilization made the following revelation. It says, quote, but literature remained the only art the Hebrews possessed. They had no painting, sculpture, or architecture. You see that? It says, therefore, as Count C. Vonley once wrote in his book, Ruins of Empire, he says, quote, all religions originated in Africa. Likewise, Dr. Albert Churchward declared that there is everything to prove that all religions had their origin in ancient Egypt. You see that? So we have just proven that fast that Christianity is not the white man's religion. Okay? Even St. Augustine, one of the church founding fathers, says, quote, what is now called the Christian religion has existed among the ancients and was not absent from the beginning of the human race. Now, I'm almost finished reading this book. It's entitled The Lost Prophet of the Bible, Enoch the Ethiopian. Greater than Abraham, holier than Moses. Okay? So this book's about 200 pages. I'm almost finished reading it. So we just proving that fast that Christianity is not the white man's religion. Just showed you that quick. Just showed you that fast. Okay? So when Moses went up on the mount to get the commandments from God, what language was it written in? Because it wasn't Hebrew, so what language was it written in? Egyptian. So it says that, as a matter of fact, there was no Hebrew written language until 850 BC, when the Jewish scribes, the Hasidim, translated the original manuscripts from Egyptian and Gesese, or Ethiopic, to Hebrew. Indeed, it is quite interesting and somewhat puzzling as to how Charles Heston in the movie The Ten Commandments comes down from Mount Sinai with 2 stone tablets containing the 10 Commandments in ancient Hebrew, when the language did not exist until 200 years later. You see that? So it doesn't matter if they give you this image. We know that Moses is a black man, but come on now, give credit where credit is due. So it doesn't matter if they put this image up here with Charles Seston and the 10 Commandments, you know what I'm saying? And you got, this is the Eurocentric version, the whitewashed version. It doesn't matter if they give you this version. If they give you this, where's it at? If they give you this, the black version of Moses with the 10 Commandments, it doesn't matter. You can't get around the truth. So when Moses went up to Mount Sinai to get the commandments from God, what language was written in? Because it wasn't Hebrew. So what was it? You niggas don't know. Just guessing. Not coming with any type of facts. Because if you've been watching my previous videos, I showed you how the Egyptians, the Hebrews, the Ethiopians, all of those people were black people, were Negroes. So how could you distinguish one from the other? Okay? Let's go here. So you got here the African origin of the Hebrew. Now I talked about this before. Okay? Herodotus, who visited this region in the 5th century BC, mentions the dark skins of the people. He calls them Ethiopians, but says their hair was straighter than those of Western Ethiopians, who he says have woolly hair. The Elamites, however, seem rather to have belonged to a more Negroid stock of the West, as their hair, has seen on monuments, is short and woolly. You see that? Right here in the book Echoes of Darkland, Charles X. Finch, page 136, says Celsius, Plutarch, Tacitus, Eusebius, and Diodorus all recorded the received tradition that the original Hebrews were a group of Ethiopians and Egyptians who were forced to leave Egypt and migrate to Canaan. It says, thus, when we echo the assertion of scholars of the caliber of Diop and Macy by affirming that the historical Semites, including the original Hebrews, evolved out of the African world and were originally black-skinned, we are insisting only on facts known and attested to by the ancient authorities who wrote on this subject. Manetho's history, the only surviving one from an identifiable Egyptian story, corroborates this impression. Thus, we must reiterate, if Jacob's clan was not black when it entered Egypt, it certainly was when its descendants departed in the group led by Moses, or his other name was Arsarsis. To the extent that there were any literate persons among them, apart from Moses himself, their written language and literature would have been Egyptian, at a time when the Hebrew language did not even exist. You see that? Are you hearing this? To quote Dr. Churchwood in his book, The Origin and Evolution of Religion, he says, Manetho states that Moses received his priestly education and learned all the wisdom of the Egyptians in the city of Heliopolis, the biblical city of On. Manetho also states that Moses was one of the priests. You see that? So, like I said, it doesn't matter what God you worship. You can make up any damn God. It can be a dog-headed God. It came from black people's imagination. Now, wait till next year when I bring some more stuff out. And remember, I had did a video on the book of I had did a book on Joseph Smith with the Book of Mormon, okay? And I showed that with the Book of Mormon, majority of those ideas came from black people's imagination. Now next year we're gonna go into that, and we're gonna show some validity in the Book of Mormon. Because I come with raw facts and who the Book of Mormon is pertaining towards. Okay? That's another misnomer we've been trained to believe, that the Book of Mormon is a white man's book. We're going to prove that to be false. Okay? I'm bringing you nothing but raw facts. So, when we go back into this map, the Bible tells you that the Bible says the Bible says the earth had one language, Genesis 11:1. So, if the Bible says the earth had one language, it couldn't have been Hebrew, because the earth is older. The earth is way older than, it says the Hebrew language. It says there was no written Hebrew language until 850 BC. The earth is way older than 850 years, 850 BC. So what language was they speaking? If the earth had one language, that's millions of languages. Okay? You got the Egyptian language, the Sumerian language, the Canaanite language, all these, the Ethiopian language, all these languages. You know what I'm saying? Which language was it? What language was they speaking? Because if we know that God, that the black man, his origins don't come from the earth, don't come from Africa. So if he came from so-called space, whatever, right? He came from the sky. What language was this dude? What language was this dude speaking? What language was he speaking? You niggas don't know. There was no language. Everything from that time, particular time of junk, was going off of sound and vibrations. So the words that you hear me speaking is coming through sound and vibrations. Without sound and vibration, there is no language. What about the people who's deaf? What about the people who does sign language? That's a form of language. That's a form of communication. Right? So how do we know that these gods of the Bible and whatever religion, how do we know that these people were not mute? How do we know that they were not doing sign language? You wasn't there. You think these people was all perfect? You a damn fool. These are all imaginative thoughts. These are somebody else's thoughts. Okay? These are somebody else's thoughts. Like I said, don't take my word for it. I don't expect you to take the information I put out as truth. What is truth? What the hell is truth? Because I'm quoting another man's work as so-called scholarship because it's been printed in a damn book. You know what I'm saying? No different than Democrats and Republicans. You picking and choosing sides. And both sides have flaws in it. That's facts. So if you want to say, well, what language does God speak? Well, if you know that God is a black man and woman, and God is coming from space, so-called space, You know what I'm saying? Let's say he's on earth now, right? So what language does God speak? God speaks all languages. So if you want to say the original Englishmen, the original English people who speak in English were black folks. It's not the white man's language. Just a damn language. So just because you speak Hebrew, that don't make you special. Or because you speak Greek or English or Spanish, that don't make you special than the next person. There's black folks all over this damn earth, everywhere. China was first thought about black Ethiopians, black people. Indians. India means black. North and South America grew by the Olmec Egyptians, black people. These are just titles. And black, I'm not black, I'm brown. I'm brown complex. I'm brown skinned. Look at this mouse on this computer. This is black. I'm lighter than that. I'm brown. We're different shades of brown. When you dig into the dirt and the ground, what color is it? Brown. These are facts. So the white man didn't come about until 4000 BC from black albinos, a lighter shade of brown people. So we have just proven that quick that Christianity is not the white man's religion, because they just told you. Depending on what sources you go to, they just told you here that when the King James translators completed the translation in 1611, they knew by calling the slaves Negroes, this would give bearing to the white Christian world that the people they were enslaving were Christians well before Europe knew about the risen Christ. So they're telling you clear as day, when the so-called slaves came over on slave ships, I ain't seen not one damn slave boat yet. When they came over on slave ships, they already knew about Christianity. Wasn't no goddamn Bible. So let's go back. Let's do the math. Let's do the history. So if they're saying here that the Hebrew language was not written, they didn't have a written language until there was no Hebrew written language until 850 BC, when the Jewish scribes translated the original manuscripts from Egyptian to Ethiopian Ge'ez to Hebrew. Okay? So, just do the math. Do the math. So what language was they speaking? So when they put the Bible together, they say that the white man hit the slaves across the head with the Bible and forced them into Christianity. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. Christianity is not the white man's religion. Christianity started from black folks, and it just repackaged. So when you hear me speak upon in the video, The Making of the White Man, I'm talking history thousands of years later. But if we going back 66, 78 trillion years, you know what I'm saying, black people have been here. They've been for 78 trillion years, and we predate that. What is religion? What is a way of life? You make it up as you go, through trial and error. That's facts. So Christianity is not the white man's religion. It's not the white man's religion. So like I said, if you're going off this map here, and it says here that so we are just, so people are so, especially in the conscious community, they are so focused upon Africa. We know that Egypt is in Africa, Ethiopia is on this continent of Africa, right? But there are other countries that's on this continent. But what about the rest of the world? What was going on in South America and North America? What was the so if we do the math here, right? Let's do the math. Let's do some math real quick. So using dates as reference points to 1250 BCE, Abraham enters Egypt. So if we got Abraham in 1250 BC in Egypt, he's doing stuff. What's going on? What's going on in Greece? 2000 BC in ancient Greece. What's going on? What's going on then? What's going on then? Or what's going on in North and South America in 1500 BC? Prior to 1250 BC. What's going on within the two different regions? Or what's going on in Europe 15,000 BC? The black and Somali Africans occupied all parts of Europe in 15,000 BC. So people are so focused upon Africa, like Africa is the hotbed of everything. No, this is one section. But you got civilizations, black folks, all around the world doing stuff. And you mean to tell me that they're just committed to one way of life, of thought and ideology? You a damn fool. You a fool. You have pyramids that's in North and South America that predates Egypt by thousands of years. So how is it possible that you have in Africa pyramids, North and South America pyramids? You have here Curtis Hill Discovery Magazine 2010. This pyramid in Collegeville, Illinois, was built by the ancient black Egyptian Olmecs. Okay, you have pyramids in China, pyramids all over the world, and we just giving credit to just one continent, Africa. But wait, so like I said, wait till next year. Wait till I bring the information on next year. I'm not taking away from what Africa has done. You know what I'm saying? What took place on the continent of Africa. But what about the rest of the world? What's going on these other continents? They're not doing anything? I mean, just because Herodotus says that the Greeks came to Egypt and learned from the Ethiopians, okay, he's talking prior, thousands of years later. But what about before then? What was they doing before then? Okay? So, we have just debunked that Christianity is not the white man's religion. All religions start from black people. So-called black people, Negroes. Okay? Now, if you want to get this book, it's entitled Enoch the Ethiopian, Lost Prophet of the Bible. I'm using this for references. And like I said, just because I use references, you know what I'm saying, to substantiate my claims, doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. How can you substantiate that the transatlantic slave trade took place? Because if we want to say, if we are subscribing to the fact so you have here in North and South, in North America, you have the Indians, right? You have the Indians. The Indians are nothing but black folks, right? So if the Indians have already been, if the Indians are already here, right? If the Indians are already here, and you have, we going off the transatlantic slave trade that the slaves were brought from Africa to America, and the Indians enslaved the black people brought from Africa. Well, that only means that they were enslaved themselves, because, like I said, Indians, Ethiopians, Egyptians, Moors, Muslims, these are all titles. So how can I be able to tell that how can I be so judgmental to label this person as an Egyptian, or Indian, or Moor, or Muslim, or Hebrew? You know what I'm saying? Or these people. So automatically, your brain, when you see this person with this headdress on, you automatically subscribe that he's Indian. But this is nothing but customary, traditional garments. You know what I'm saying? Based on tradition, how they dress. You strip the clothes off, how would you be able to tell that this person is an Egyptian, or a Hebrew, or a Muslim, or whatever title? These are all titles. Take the goddamn clothes off, take off the traditional dress wear, then what do you have? Strip their ass down, bare naked. Like I said, in order for you to know God, you got to strip his ass down. You got to strip God's ass down. You and God are made of the same shit. Because ain't no God dropping books out of the sky. All these books are written by man. Coming from another man's thought, another man's brain. You know what I'm saying? So what is true? What is facts? You know what I'm saying? Do you actually think? Now think for a second. If these white people, you know what I'm saying, these Caucasians, these Europeans, whatever you want to call them, own all the guns, they own all the militaries, you know what I'm saying, they own all the banks, and I'm constantly hearing, what can we do as a people to own our own businesses? Or we need to stock up on gold before the economy crash. Did you think for 1 second that this white man is going to let you Negroes get in power? You a damn fool. They'll blow this place up. If you profess they have nuclear weapons, do you think they're going to let a nigger in charge? Hell no. They'll blow this, they'll blow this place up. They don't give a shit. I heard this out of the mouth from a Hebrew brother years ago when he told me he spoke to a Jewish guy on the phone, a white man on the phone, and it was speaking about things pertaining towards the Bible, things like that. And he said, "Man, before we let you niggas in charge, we'll blow this place up." You don't think they got the equipment to do it? So you can cancel all that shit about we need to own our own businesses and we need reparations. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Because they know exactly who you are. But you don't know who you are. That's facts. That's facts. So all that Egyptians and Moors and Muslims, the Hebrews and Egyptians are different people. These are titles, man. Strip the titles away. And the only difference you'll be able to tell between, like if I stood next to a person who's of so-called African descent, if I'm over here in America, right, and somebody's over there in Africa, and let's just say, for instance, I shave my beard off. I don't have a beard. And me and this guy standing next to each other. How would you be able to, who gives you the right to say, oh, he's an African? He's a Hebrew. How would you be able to tell the difference? They both look alike. They both got the same texture hair. Who's to say that this dude is a Hebrew, this dude is an Egyptian? Could they speak a different language? What is language? What are words? These are questions you need to ask. And you niggas don't ask no questions. This ain't just for black people only. This is for the whole goddamn world. This is going across the whole. This is going across the board. So, is Christianity the white man's religion? No, it is not. Christianity is not the white man's religion. So, if you're going off the slave trade and say that we didn't know anything about Christianity we got over here, that's a lie. Now wait till I bring out information next year to substantiate that the so-called Indians were practicing Christianity. They know about Christianity. I'm gonna prove it. Because in order for them to know about Christianity, somebody would have to have been here already in order to teach them Christianity. And if we go off, and if you know about the time, so-called what time is, if we know that black people on all continents, you know what I'm saying, and all they're doing is coming up with their own ideologies and their own different branches of frame thought of different conceptual theologies of God, different sects, you know what I'm saying, they're going to come up with their own rules and regulations. No different than a damn gang. So you said I'm a Christian, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Moor. Those are all gangs. And with every gang has a leader. You dumb, ignorant fools, think. I gotta be harsh, because I gotta get this shit to stick into your damn head. So, on all continents, not just one continent, on all continents, everybody's doing something different. But the majority of the land masses are populated by people of color. White is not a color. We look up the word bleach. White is bleached. Like here, white is the bleached color. There is no such thing as a white race. Every white man is a faded or bleached one. Schopenhauer. So you know if you take bleach and you pour it on something, what color does it turn? White. So if you take bleach and pour it on a white person, he's fading out of existence because bleach has chemicals in it, and it burns stuff up. Have you ever washed your hands with bleach, and that bleach gets into your skin, it starts burning? You Negroes better think. You don't think. Why should you be even qualified to call yourself God? We don't even know who God is. You're not even you don't even have the audacity or the balls to question who made you or what made you. You're looking off of one damn book. And so this book has all the answers. But before there was any book, what was they doing? Everything was orally, was straight verbatim. So, once more, is the Christianity white man's religion? No. It says here that Thus, the world-renowned American Orientalist James H. Bresser discloses that our moral heritage therefore derives from a wider human past enormously older than the Hebrews, and it has come to us rather through the Hebrews than from them. It goes on to say here that in this book, The Dawn of Consciousness, The Dawn of Conscious, 1933, page 15, it says, as a matter of fact, quote, there was no Hebrew written language until 850 BC. So, you have languages that's predated 850 BC. You got in Europe, 50,000 BC, black people speaking something. 2000 BC, ancient Greece was started by black minority Egyptians. They speaking a language. What else? In North and South America, 1500 BC, black Olmecs was ruled by black Egyptians. They speaking something. You know what I'm saying? You got in China, 1122 BC. This is predating 850 BC. They speaking something. You know what I'm saying? So it says, as a matter of fact, there was no Hebrew written language until 850 BC, when the Jewish scribes translated the original manuscripts. So if the Jewish scribes are translating the original manuscripts from Egyptian to Greece, to Ethiopian, to Hebrew, what language were they speaking? You mean to tell me that so if there was no written language until 850 BC from the Hebrews, could it be possible that when they translating this stuff, you know what I'm saying? If they are translating stuff from the original manuscript from the Egyptian stuff, well, where is this Jewish Hebrew stuff coming from? They're making this shit up. They're making it up. This is facts. They're making it up. You got to be able to read between the lines. And telling you right here, as a matter of fact, there was no Hebrew written language until 850 BC. Indeed, it is quite interesting and somewhat puzzling as to how Charles Heston, in the movie The Ten Commandments, comes down from Mount Sinai with 2 stone tablets containing the Ten Commandments in ancient Hebrew, when the language did not exist until 200 years later. You see that? So now how are you going to debunk this? How are you going to debunk this? It says here that the ancient Christian civilization of Ethiopia. It says that when the King James translators completed the translation in 1611, they knew by calling the slaves Negroes, this would give bearing to the white Christian world that the people they were enslaving were Christians, well before Europe knew about the risen Christ. So they already knew about Christianity when they came over here. They already knew about Christianity. So all they did was took their concept and ideas of what Christianity was and whitewashed it. That's all they did. They put a white image on it. That's all. But you Negroes can't read in between the lines. Because you won't study for yourself. The Bible tells you to study to show yourself the proof. This ain't no goddamn group effort. This is an individual thing. So let's just say there is a so-called judgment. And God asks your ass, well, what did you learn? What did you study? Oh, well, I learned from Brother John because he did all these videos. No, not what Brother John did. What did you do? What research did you do? Because when you're taking a test, when your professor wants you to write a paper, or take a test. This ain't no group thing. You gotta stay up all night and research the stuff on your own. This ain't no group. This ain't no group effort. So what research did you do? He said, the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. Study to show thy own self approved. Not no studies to show this us as a group. No, this is your own. This is you as an individual person. You are responsible for your own actions. Nobody is there to hold your hand. This is facts. Now, how are you going to debunk this? So Christianity is not the white man's religion. It's not. It's facts. Ethiopia, a black country, is the oldest Christian country in the world. Where's Ethiopia at? Ethiopia is on the continent of Africa. But what about the rest of the continents? What traditions are they doing on these other continents? I guess everything was popping, was booming and popping on just this one continent, huh? When they got pyramids predating Egypt by thousands of years in North and South America. This is facts. This is facts. There is but one race, the human race. There is no such thing as a white race. Every white man is a faded or bleached one. You see that? So you must do your own research, man. Don't just because I put stuff out and say, oh, Brother John putting out the truth. What is truth? What is the truth? Just because somebody put it in the book and cite it as sources and documentation? So let's just say that all the books are burned. Now what credibility do you have to solidify the information you provide as so-called facts? So, Chiang Diop said in his book that he took samples from the Egyptian mummies and said and confirmed that they were black people using carbon dating things. Okay, you take away that technology, then what do you have? So you must draw your own conclusions, man. Draw your own conclusions. We just showed you that fast that the Hebrew language was not written until 850 BC, when the Jewish scribes translated the original manuscript. We don't even got the original manuscripts. In his book, he even said the same damn thing. So if you don't got the original, what are you going off of? Right here, according to the world's great religion, the Bible was written some 1400 years, 1300 BC to 100 AD. Few of its many authors have been identified. No original manuscripts are known to exist. Only copies of copies. So, if I took this paper, if I took this page, right, and let's just say that this piece of paper with all these words on it is the original, right? And you know that this is the original. I write on here, let's just say that I write on here original, right? Or the first. Okay? First. So you have just seen me write original. This is the original. This is the original draft. Right? And you don't see any markings or any grammatical errors or anything of that nature in this text, right? We just speaking of, we just going off original thought, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So you see that this is the original, right? And I tear this page out, right? And you don't see any markers on it, right? And you see your original, right? You see it with your own eyes. And let's just say that I tore this out and went to the copy machine over here and made a copy of this. And when you see the copy, you no longer see this. This is white. This is whited out. This is taken out, and you see scribble errors all through the. You see grammatical errors all through here, and you're gonna say to yourself, "Wait a minute, what happened? What changed? What happened to the word original? Why is it whited out? And why is it marked and shit all over the paper? Who changed the text?" Well, wouldn't it be safe to say that the person who wrote the word original and made a copy of the text changed the shit around? Huh? Ask yourself these questions. That's the thing. You don't question a damn thing. They're telling you clear as day. The Bible was written the Bible was written during some 1400 years, 1300 BC, 100 AD. Few of its meaning authors have been identified. No original manuscripts are known to exist. Only copies of copies. So when they give us shit like the Dead Sea Scrolls and all this stuff, you ain't seen no damn Dead Sea Scrolls. They just post shit up on the internet and say, "Oh, we have the Isaiah Dead Sea Scrolls, the Isaiah Scrolls, or we have the Dead Sea Scrolls, or they bring out books, the Book of Abraham, the lost books of Moses, the lost books of like this shit right here, the Book of Enoch. We ain't seen no text of Enoch. They just post it on the internet, so they go to the original. They got it in fragments, and the way they present it is they have pieces of it and written on parchment leaves or whatever that shit is called, right? And they just write shit on here. They write shit on the paper, right? Right? And then just tear pieces of it off, and then post it in that glass shit, and it's up. You see the white folks looking at the so-called scrolls. Those are scrolls right there. What they was writing on. Get the fuck out of here, man. Do you niggas actually believe that shit? Do you actually believe that? The only thing you're doing is taking these words that another man has written or another woman has written, and you are processing that information in your brain, and you are painting a picture, and you are painting a story on how you think this shit went down. Because none of us was there back then. Nobody that's alive in this generation. You mean to tell me you can tell me what happened 50 years ago and your ass wasn't there? You cannot even remember a conversation that you're having with someone 15 to 20 minutes prior, 15 to 20 minutes later. Like, oh, what'd you say? I forgot what you said. Or people who smoke weed, they can be talking and they be like, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying? What was I talking about? Like, damn. So you actually think so it says that the Hebrew language was not written until 850 BC. So the majority of that shit that Moses was speaking to the children of Israel was verbatim, was verbal. You mean to tell me that somebody is remembering all of this shit? Get the fuck out of here, man. I guess you think these people are not. I guess you think these people were just perfect. I guess you think they was just perfect. They had no flaws or nothing. You Negroes are ignorant. You ignorant. I gotta be blunt. You niggas are ignorant. You don't think. They're telling you clear as day that there was no Hebrew written language until 850 BC when the Jewish scribe translated the original manuscripts from Egyptian. They said, how is it possible that Moses came down to take commandments from Mount Sinai when the Hebrew language was not even in existence? So what language did he get the commandments from? And who the hell was he talking to on the mountain? If you say that God's language is Hebrew, well, that ain't true. So with that being said, peace, subscribe, Thanks for listening and watching.